Bear, do you have a question on your mind as we open the show today?
I do. Okay. The NHL, why is it the Stanley Cup final, but the NBA finals? Why is that? They both are best of 7. Why is one called the final and one called the finals? It's been eating at me for the last week, and I've yet to get an answer that is correct or that I'm going to buy. So
how come the Eastern Conference Finals is lowercase, but Stanley Cup Finals, it's all uppercase?
Why do you park in a driveway and drive in a parkway? I don't know.
These are all questions.
There's all burning questions
that we're never going to have answers
We'll never
to.
have an answer to, no.
We've got some questions going into we're getting into the heart of the spring tournaments here that we're going to eventually get some answers
Yes,
to.
and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting next 10 days or so. Yep.
We got state track. We got sectional softball still going on. Baseball just kind of really getting underway. So we'll delve into those and, probably won't get to really figure out the answers to your finals question.
Okay,
but we can talk about the NHL finals and give some picks and and then we can let everyone know whether or not you've changed your mind.
We can talk about my disdain for wearing jerseys.
Okay, I look forward to that discussion.
Let's talk about it.
All that and much, much more coming up here on Extra Points. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Extra Points. It's the first show of June.
Mm-hmm. June swoon.
Almost reached summer. I'm Eric Schmaltz, sports editor of the Gazette. This is John Barry. We're bringing you everything local and state sports and finals, lowercase, uppercase with an S, finals.
Can we not talk about the Brewers this week?
We'll skip the Brewers.
Okay,
they don't deserve it anyway.
Okay, good.
Let's start right out with the high school scene. And you got to go to Janesville Parker's sectional last week for Division I track and field, and we got to see who's all going to state, which is Friday and Saturday up at UW La Crosse. Just give us a couple storylines that maybe you'll be looking at heading into the weekend.
I think the number one is Craig Senior Ian Reinecke, the triple jumper who enters state with the top mark in the state.
Which is crazy.
45-10. He's only jumped 4 times all season. One of them was a foot fault that, had he not faulted, was probably at 47.5 feet, something like that. So a feel-good story if it happens that he wins state, because nobody's been through more hardship than Ian has. And I got a chance to sit down and talk to him last week and just can't get healthy. A torn meniscus turned into a hamstring injury that's not fully healed. He had to give up long jump, concentrate on triple jump. He took one jump that mattered at the sectional meet, and it was a foot farther than anybody else. And now he goes into the Division I state track and field meet with the best jump. And he said, look, if I only can only make 2 jumps because of my hip or, my hamstring, I got to make them count. So he knows he may not get 6 jumps, that his hamstring might not allow it. But he said, if I can nail 1 or 2 jumps, that might be good enough, like it was at sectionals.
Other city storylines, Parker, probably the 4x4 relay.
Yeah, I think Parker's 4x4. If those of you that were down there last Friday, they got a chance to watch them. Sandy Toyer's last 400 leg was sizzling. It had to be 48 something, I would assume. I mean, he was flying, even with a Stoughton kid, about the first 200 meters, and then just kicked it into another gear. And Marquise Brooks, Colton Ellis, DJ Vance, and Sandy Toyer, I think they come in with about the 4th or 5th best time. Ashwaubenon, which they'll run against in the last heat on Friday, has a top time at 3:19, and Parker came in at about 3:22. But you get up at state, and times will come down, and you would hope the Vikings would get through on Friday and have a chance to get on the podium on Saturday.
It would be fun to watch, and quite a few student athletes out there in the area that have a chance to either win a state title or make it on the podium. Who are some of the ones that really cross your mind off the top of your head?
Well, I think the one that comes to mind is Logan Maurer, a kid from Broadhead, Judah, who kind of laid low all season long and then decides to pop 171 in his discus at the sectional meet. So Logan doesn't seem too concerned that his distance wasn't as good as everybody else's, but he's got the top throw in the disc. Shot put, again, he went in last year, wasn't one of the favorites last year and found a way to win it. So again, he's several feet behind the top shot putter, but
he was last year.
Last year, so you don't know. And certainly discus, he's the one to beat. But, the Rock Valley in general, look at a kid like Alex Schmidt at Edgerton. He's the top seed in pole vault in Division II.
And Keegan Stoneworth from Whitewater has gone just as high as he has at different points this season.
Exactly. Kaylee Reynolds, again, we've talked about how fast she is. She's going to be in medal contention in the 100 and the 200. And, just some other kids that, might not make the podium. But I look at a kid like Julia Castor, senior from Clinton that's been to state in cross country and track. And, she's going to finish off an incredible career at the state track and field meet running in 2 events. And, there's a case where, if she doesn't get to the podium, it certainly doesn't diminish what she's accomplished over the 4 years.
Crazy career between cross country and track.
Exactly, yep.
Karen Weethal's a name from Evansville.
Karen Weethal from Evansville, I believe, is the top discus.
It was one of the 2 throws.
One of the 2 throws, and she was well ahead of everybody else. I think it was 134 or 133, which was several feet ahead of the nearest competitor. But again, I've been up to state enough to know that, the adrenaline gets flowing a little bit. And, I can remember A.J. Curtis and Amber Curtis from Broadhead that just got up there and they were in a different world. And your steps go down and your form is just perfect and you just uncork something. And, that's what you got to do when you get up there. And that's what makes that state tournament so much fun.
Nice. Just fun to see so many have a chance at making a podium or a state tournament where some years we go in saying, well, I don't know if we're going to have a state title. And you would think we're going to have one or two.
I would think we could have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
With Maurer, Reinecke, Schmidt, or Stoneworth, certainly Wethel. We've got some good opportunities if things hold true to seeding that, we're going to come out of there with some gold medals.
Any teams that, Beloit Memorial's girls.
Beloit Memorial's girls, again, Ramirez running the distance events, but I thought that Hernandez, I thought the Elliott girl was fast, but boy, that girl from Bradford just was in a different world, and she's built like somebody you're going to see competing down the road in the collegiate level because she was fast. She ran a 12 flat in the 100, and that's moving.
But they've got numbers.
They've got numbers. They've got depth between the hurdles and the sprints and a couple of relays. But again,
and Casey Cousins in the throws
too. So. I think I think a team like Bradford with that one sprinter and their 2 relays, they're going to score points as well. And there's always a team that has got 1 or 2 really good athletes that score a bunch of points in 8 events, and you don't know. But I would think Beloit could get certainly a top 5 finish.
Sounds good. That'll be track and field. That's Friday and Saturday, pretty much all day.
Let's hope the weather cooperates. Yeah. I saw an early indication of rain on Friday, and that puts a damper on everything. You hope Saturday looks nice, but I hope Friday that the rain holds off because that makes it a mess if that happens.
As long as it's not lightning,
right?
Then it gets rolled.
Then crazy. you got to clear the stadium, and it's tough to take 10,000 people and put them somewhere.
Depending on when you're watching this, we've got 1 team left in softball. And Beloit Turner will play McFarland on Thursday in the sectional title game to see who goes to state. Could see Turner get there. You've seen him quite a couple of times.
I saw him play McFarland earlier in the year. They were the better team. McFarland made a little run late on a couple of errors, but Kelsey Packard hit a home run on Tuesday. I'm not sure it's landed yet. It may still be in flight, and really just continues to not carry that team on her back because the Trojans have enough talent, but she's as good a softball player as I've seen in a long time. She throws hard, 10 strikeouts or 12 strikeouts, whatever she ended up with, a home run, drove in another run, and she's kind of the catalyst, makes that team go. But,
big senior class that also it's all pretty much seniors and freshmen. So the freshmen want to do it for the seniors, and the seniors clearly want to get something done. So
it's funny how the top of the order is the Mickelson sisters, and then you get the Packard sisters. Yeah. And like you said, 2 of them are about to end their careers. Mickelson's heading up to UW Green Bay to play, and certainly Kelsey's going to Florida Gulf Coast, and their 2 sisters, it's down the road, but they may end up better than both of them. So it's hard to say, but I like the Trojans' chances, and me, I've been on the bandwagon all season long.
You're wearing their shirt today.
I'm wearing my Turner shirt today in honor, but I think they'll beat the Spartans, and I think you'll see Beloit. I think you'll see Turner up at Goodman Diamond next week.
A shout out to Adam Masters and Jimmy Flynn, who got into the Division I doubles boys tennis tournament. They'll play Thursday.
They played at state, and there's hundreds of doubles teams throughout the state that aren't going to say that they ended their year at the state tournament. So kudos to them.
They could get a win there. That would be nice to see them win a match at state. The girls' soccer is going to start Thursday. We can probably talk a little more about that next week when we really get into the heart of it. But really, I think what's on everybody's mind here around Janesville is baseball, because if things shape up the way they are seating wise, which I know we don't want to get ahead of ourselves too far, but we could be in for something pretty special Tuesday down at Riverside.
It could be a repeat of last year, which
no, it would be better than
last year. Actually, yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the thing is last year it was Craig and Parker in a sectional semifinal that started at 10 in the morning,
right?
And you saw the cars lined up out the park all the way down to the boat launch, trying to figure out a way to get in.
And it's $5 to get in, people, if you go down there next Tuesday.
This would be a sectional final to see if they both win Thursday, both win their Tuesday early games, they would play each other for a state berth at 4 in the afternoon, and you would think that Riverside would just be rocking at that point.
If you are going down there, I would suggest taking a canoe and paddling downstream and maybe landing behind the tennis courts, and then that way you can get in for free and just
or maybe you wanted to wait in line.
Tie up your canoe and you're all set to go.
Yeah, it would be like out in San Francisco.
Yeah,
maybe you could just sit there and watch the game.
You could wait for a Nick Blomgren home
run ball. Wait for Logan
ball
Coulter and Nick Blomgren to belt one into the river.
Bombs your way. But no, I mean, exactly. I mean, we've been talking about that all year as well. And if you get... Which, again, if the Cards play the way they should, you'll have a Parker-Craig final. And, a baseball crazy town like this used to be, once again, that'll be the story. And that's a good thing because the baseball tradition in this town is so rich anyways. It'd be great to see that. And certainly games left before then. I
think that's the question. I mean, you got to make sure
you get there.
You and I can sit here and talk about it and say, man, that would be really awesome. But you got to make sure that doesn't really infiltrate their dugout where they're thinking ahead, because this time you start looking ahead is the time.
And again, I'm not taking anything away from Milton. I'm not taking anything away from Stoughton, but I think the biggest hurdle leading up to Parker and Craig playing in that sectional final, and I hate to say it because Craig's 23-1, but I think the one hurdle would be Madison West. Madison West did not throw their good kid. Rosenblum Larson did not pitch in their regional final. So he'll pitch against Beloit on Thursday. And I think he'll beat Beloit, which means they would play Craig in that first game of the sectional. And Craig's seen Rosenblum Larson once. You covered it and said
they did all right. He had one bad inning though, and he started walking guys. And I assume he doesn't have a whole lot of innings like that.
And you hope that he doesn't have that special stuff on Tuesday, and the Cougars don't have an answer for it. But no, I would be surprised if it's not Parker and Craig, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't another close game. And the winner means that if that happens, we've got a city team going to the state tournament for the second year in a row.
I just want to see, I want to see that atmosphere happen.
I do too. It's so cool. I mean, even yesterday at a Division II game with Turner and Elkhorn in Darien, which is let's face it, in the kind of middle of nowhere. Great crowd. I mean, Turner had a lot of fans there. Elkhorn, a program that, according to a good friend of mine, John Handel, he goes, I don't even remember Elkhorn ever winning a tournament game in softball. Right. So for them to get to that point, pretty special for Elkhorn, and just you could tell the fan support was real good for both schools, and certainly with Janesville at Riverside with that history down there, like you said, they'd be lined up early to come watch.
Division II, probably most eyes on Edgerton. I mean, we got most of the rock schools there. As we speak, the teams that are still alive are Edgerton, Clinton, Monroe, and Turner. By the time you watch this, those games very well might be over. But seeing if Edgerton or Turner, I would imagine, would be the likely team to come out of there. Edgerton, the favorite, the top seed. Yep. And they would play at Evansville in next week's sectionals.
And the Tide kind of, flew under the radar all year. I mean, and I don't even sure that we realized how good they were. And then they tied for the Rock Valley North with a very good Jefferson team. And, certainly Mike at, I think, 18-6 is their overall record. And again, when you take into account 6 losses, you got to figure 2 or 3 of those are non-conference games where you're not probably putting your best lineup on the field. And Mike, I know they lost to Delavan Darien in a tournament game where they were down to their 3rd or 4th pitcher. So again, a little bit of a deceiving record, but Mike Gregory will have those kids ready to play. And I tell you what, they've got a tough task. Again, we're filming on Wednesday, and the game will be over. But Clinton's with Lidl is a different team. They're 500 when he doesn't pitch, but when he pitches, they're pretty tough. And he's going to be throwing against Edgerton, and it's going to be a tough matchup for Edgerton. Beat him 17-4 during the regular season, but Mr. Lidl was not on the mound.
Yeah, but Edgerton threw their 3rd or 4th or 5th guy too. So I don't know how much you can take from that game. Exactly. And then some eyes on Parkview, I think, because they won the Rock Valley South, and now they get to go play teams that are actually their enrollment size, which they've been playing up all year. You never know what can happen in that sort of situation. They're the number 2 seed, And
they've got two quality left-handed pitchers in Struck and Milky, and again, we beat it to death. But you get into that one-day sectional where you got to play two games. If you can come with two good quality pitchers, which they have, that makes a big difference. Because if you got to throw your ace and you don't have much behind him, that makes for a long second game. Whereas Parkview, you know what you're going to get with those two, and they'll take their chances in a championship game knowing that they don't have much of a fall-off.
That's what we got going on around here locally, high school-wise.
Yes, busy.
Yeah.
It's good.
Probably, I was thinking about the other day, this is probably the busiest week
It
of
is.
our year because with the fall and winter sports, the postseasons drag on a little bit further. You're not doing a boys and a girls really basketball game at the same day. You know, they're staggered, and this week there's more than one thing pretty much every day from Tuesday on to Saturday.
And the cool thing about it is we're good in a lot of things. I mean, we've got a lot of good teams, and we've got a lot of great individual talent, and that makes it more fun to cover. I mean, it makes it fun for all of us because, like I said, when you start talking state titles and state championships and playing at state and things like that, it makes for for us, it makes for a more enjoyable paper to put out every day.
Yep. Let's transition nationally. I know we talked NBA finals last week and we made our predictions, which was kind of funny because we taped that show before the finals were even set.
Right.
And yet we sit here and the finals still haven't even started yet.
No. Finally to get the NHL underway tonight with the Lightning.
Just think about that. How did we predict the NBA already last week? And then we've been sitting here all week and they haven't even started it yet.
That would be television and money. That would be ratings and money and no, I mean, you'll notice that they don't go head to head at all. I mean, the days the NHL doesn't play, the NBA will play. And, now it turns into, I believe ABC has all the NBA games and I believe NBC has all the NHL games. And the NHL lucked out in the sense that they've got at least Chicago's in there.
Right.
Had it been Tampa and Anaheim,
Yikes.
the clickers would have been not dialed into Channel 15, that's for sure.
Some telephones might have been thrown in some
and the
executive
NBA,
offices.
I mean, with King LeBron on one side and Steph Curry and an exciting Golden State team, those ratings are going to be huge. So
let's just rehash our NBA picks. You had Golden State.
I had Golden State beating Chicago.
You still, over Cleveland.
No, well, yeah, but I mean, originally when they first started, I thought
just for the finals.
Yes, finals. I still like Golden State in seven games.
Okay.
Yes,
and I'm taking Cleveland in six.
Right. Okay.
So we're not going to talk any more about it because we talked some about it last week. But it's going to actually start, which is exciting. It'll be good. But in the NHL side, I can't imagine you're picking Chicago because that's just not in your.
I don't like Chicago.
It's not in your makeup.
But all right, I'll go with the Lightning in 7.
Okay.
Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think the Blackhawks will win that in 5.
Me too. Yeah, I'm taking Blackhawks in 5.
I can't name a Lightning player, and if you're going to have Lightning as your mascot,
what about Ben Bishop? He's like 6'10" or something.
Why do you have blue on your color scheme? That's blue skies doesn't mean lightning. You should have black. You should be black with a big gold lightning bolt. And instead, they're blue. So I don't know anything about Tampa Bay. I don't follow them. Their goalie's like 7 foot tall, and Tays and Kane and the rest of those guys will eat them up, and I can't see that going more than 5.
Yeah, well, and the Blackhawks have been there and done that, and I think that's going to help them out a lot.
Yep.
Is this all transitioning into your anger about jerseys?
It's just I have a fetish about wearing jerseys. I just think it should be you should be done wearing jerseys when you're 15.
No one should ever get to wear a jersey.
The only time you should wear a jersey if it's somebody older than you. Like if I wore a Wayne Gretzky jersey, that would be okay because he's older than me. But if I'm parading around in a Jonathan Tays jersey or a Patrick Kane, please shoot me and put me out of my misery.
Where's this coming? Where's all this rage coming
I just think it's childish and it just doesn't. It's not you. I mean, if you want to wear a plain Blackhawks jersey, that's fine, I guess. But to wear a jersey with somebody's name on the back and you're 50 years old like me, and it's just, to me, it's childish. I just don't like the idea of it. But I'm sure there's enough people that say, well, he's an idiot anyway, so who cares what he says? Do you wear jerseys?
Well, I wear them to games sometimes, I guess. I used to have Braun jerseys. I don't wear them anymore because I just...
Okay, I would have a problem with that, but
interest.
That's just me.
I had a Rockies jersey for a guy that I covered at like rookie ball, and when he got called up to the majors, I decided to get his jersey and wear it when he pitched.
I mean, if you had a T-shirt or a sweatshirt or something or a hat, that's one thing. But to spend $200 on a jersey that says Kane on the back or Tays or whatever, I mean, to me, that's just it's like you're reliving your childhood or something.
Sometimes
it's
that's
okay with it.
isn't
I don't
it?
mind rooting for a team and having allegiance, but I'm just a non-jersey person. That's all.
That's fair. What about the like take your glove to the game?
No, stop doing that. Unless you're 9, stop doing that.
I go a little further. 12.
Okay, 12.
12,
But come
maybe.
on. If I see
Maybe
a
once you're a
45-year-old man
teenager.
with a beer in one hand and his glove in the other, I realize that he doesn't get out enough and he needs to get out more. But, I mean, no, it's to each
That's
his
an
own.
argument that I've had with people.
To each
over
his
the
own.
years,
I
so.
mean, it's like somebody keeping score at a game. I mean, they always say, well, what if it's a no-hitter? Okay, well, if I'm keeping score and a guy gets a hit in the first inning, my scorebook goes under my seat, and I'm just going to watch the game because I'm not going to see anything in history. And I certainly ain't going to go back 5 years from now and say, oh, God, I remember that 7-4 game that I kept score at in 1998 or whatever it was. So, no.
I now know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to show up to work in a jersey and with my glove. So
Okay.
that should.
That's great, and I will take a picture, and that'll be all over Facebook and Twitter.
Belmont's this weekend.
It is. Yep. And I was surprised the field is small.
8, and I think American Pharaoh is like 3 to 5 to win it.
And again, I mean, we thought Chrome last year, but Chrome had, I think, a bigger field to run against at the Belmont. And so Pharaoh going to be the favorite, but again,
They said the last 8 favorites at the Belmont have lost.
Well, I didn't think he'd win, and I think his chances are, though, a little bit better now with such a small field, especially if he gets out early. If he gets out early and he's not boxed in, doesn't get caught on the rail, or doesn't have to come from the outside, if he can get out early like he's gotten out the first couple of races, he may just coast to victory.
I have a weird feeling that he's going to win,
Yeah, I do too.
which, fine, that'll be good.
Yeah,
I'll see him my first one in my lifetime.
That's right.
So.
Yep. And good for him. It
Make a
sounds
little
like a good
history.
story. And, I mean, it is what it is. And it's been a while since, what is Affirmed, the last one?
Couldn't even tell you. I wasn't alive for it.
Well, that's because you're a young pup. Maybe you can put a jersey on and watch the Belmont on
Maybe I'll
Saturday.
find an American Pharaoh jersey.
There you could.
I don't know if they have those.
Well,
or
you
not.
could. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I can always Google.
Yeah, you could.
Google
Maybe
it.
a jockey jersey you could find.
I'm not going to get that.
Okay.
I'm a little tall for that.
You are. Tall in the saddle.
We'll be back here next week
We
to let you
will.
know if that Triple Crown happened and where these finals or final stand.
Finals.
See what happens with this baseball. Hopefully Tuesday comes to fruition.
It does.
That'll do it for this week. Let us know what you think of the show by finding us on YouTube or on iTunes, and looking for us on Twitter. You can email us at sports@gazetteextra.com, or you can just track down our producer, Andy Ryder.
And if
in the
anybody knows of
parking lot
any
and let
major
him
leaguers,
know.
could you please call Doug Melvin? He's still looking for a team. That's bad,
That's-
I know.
Well,
It's true.
that's
Maybe
worth-
there'll be some wholesale changes by next week. Maybe we'll have a different roster to
I don't think so.
rip apart.
I don't think so.
Probably not,
We'll
no.
skip them again next week.
I know.
But we'll be here, and we'll see you then.
Take care, everybody.